Hello musicians, welcome back. My name is Bucky Dirtle and I am doing a tutorial today on VCV Rack DAW, but specifically I'm doing it on the Bog Audio Analyzer module. And you can see it right here. So today I'm going to be talking about the functionality of this, how it all works, how we can use it, and show you some examples of it in use. So let's get started. Bog Audio makes some really nice utilities for our VCV rack, and you should check them out. I should also mention too that it's open source, so if you do like this this module, go to the website and show your support to the developers. Okay, this is a frequency analyzer. Frequency analyzer. So it is, as we adjust frequency, you can see frequency moving. And I'm going to show you more about this detail in a second, but it is a frequency analyzer, and it's really cool. We have 4 inputs, so we can run 4 different inputs and get different, and we can get different results in color for every one. There you go. So this is a mess. But you can see up at the top, A is the first input, and it tells you basically what it is, roughly what the hertz are for A, and then B, and then C, and then D. So I'm just going to disconnect these because that's just a mess. So yeah, so you can see up at the top here, the green A, it tells you what it is, and the hertz that it's the fundamental is at. So, okay. Let's see how this works. So first of all, we plug in our sound source into an in. We can come out of through and go to our mixer or go to a VCA or whatever you want to go to. I will just pass the sound directly through it. Okay, so that's how we wire it up. That's a piece of cake. So you can kind of put this in line in a lot of what you do. You can put this in line, and you can keep an eye on certain things as you go. I know I do a lot of mixing, and I know that having knowledge of where what frequencies are actually being introduced into your mix is a big deal. Because if you've got a bass drum that is competing frequency-wise with a bass part or a keyboard part, it's going to make it very muddy. If a guitar part is competing with a vocal line, it's going to make it very muddy. So knowing where your frequencies lie for all of your different parts, very important, very important. So this is something that I would recommend you use. You use it as often as you can. So let's have a look at how it's working here. So on my VCO, I can adjust my frequency, and you can see if I go way down here, it brings it way down to the bottom. And then I can bring it up. Now, let me give you a little sound here. This is a sine wave. But you might be saying, Bucky, why? I'm seeing multiple waves here. Why is that? Well, these are overtones. These are harmonics that are happening. And with any sound, there's a certain amount of overtones that will happen. It's just inherent to the sounds. Some types of waveforms produce more overtones than others. So now this is we have a digital. Okay, this is the analog sine wave, as we say analog here, and you can see that there are overtones in the sine wave. Let me bring up scope as well here, just to show you. Where are my 2 here? Scope. Here we go. Let me take this through and put it into scope. Okay, and let me slow my time down. Oh, we might not be able to see this because we are using a VCO. Let me bring this down. There we go. Okay, so you can see our sine wave. If we go digital, it gives us more of a pure sine wave, and it's gonna produce less overtones, less harmonics. Let me see if I can also drag that guy down into an input. Oops. Here we go. Okay, so we have more of a fundamental, less overtones when we select digital. We select the analog version, which is it emulates what an analog version would be, an analog version of the sine wave. It gives you more overtones. Now, That being said, any sound you have acoustically is full of overtones, full of harmonics, and that shows up in here. So if we go to a different waveform like triangle wave, look at that. We have a lot more waveform, a lot more harmonics coming out, a lot more overtones. And if we switch it to digital, you can see it's still, because it's inherent in these sorts of wave to produce harmonics. And if we go to saw wave, look at that. Analog, digital, lots of it. So we have a lot more harmonics. Square wave, same deal. So it gives us a lot of harmonics. So, but it's important to know that, and also if you do have these harmonics, and they're inherent in this in a wave that you're using, you can also use an EQ to roll these off, and to get the sound you want. And you can analyze. You can use this analyzer, frequency analyzer, after your EQ as well to see the result of what your roll off. Okay, the result of what your EQ is doing. So very, very cool. Very, very cool. Now you'll see here that we have, it's a pretty accurate wave. It's a bit jiggly. Well, we have different settings here that we can use that can help the display of our sound. So if I take my smooth dial here, what that does is it varies the refresh rate here, the sample. So what happens here, if we lower it down, it lowers the sampling rate of the sound as it's being displayed graphically. So if we raise it up, it samples more often, and it displays those samples more often. The trade-off is going to be CPU time. You may get a more accurate, if you crank it all the way to the top, you might get a more accurate showing of the wave, but you'll be sacrificing your CPU time. Now, the next thing is we have quality right here. Again, the same deal. It gives us a higher resolution of the waveform, but it's at the cost of CPU time. Okay, let's just see what that looks like in the other waves. Saw wave, triangle, and let's look at this smoothness. We're on good quality now. Let's go to high, and let's adjust our wave and see what happens. Actually, let's turn a little sound up so we can see what we're getting. This is a triangle wave, and we're on digital. Let's check it on analog. A little different. Okay, so that's that. Actually, you know what? I should have this all over here so we can see it a little better. There you go. Now, these are all very organized, simple waves: sine wave, triangle wave, saw wave. If we can use the same approach, we can use something like Cloud Generator, which is a really nice little synth. Take saw out of that one. And now this one is going to give us a much more complicated waveform, because this actually this has 8 oscillators built into it. So we might get all kinds of strange and wonderful sounds out of this. So let's have a quick little listen. You can see how it looks already. I mean, it's a saw wave, do a sine wave. See what that looks like. It's a pretty pure sine wave there, isn't it? So let's start with that one, sure, why not? And Cloud Generator lets us do things like it has a spread. Let me go to 2, here we go. I'll turn that down a little bit, it's a little loud. It has a spread, and spread has 2 oscillators that separate in their pitches. You see that? You see the 2 oscillators going there? You can actually see them on the screen there. And they're going apart more and more. I have it on the sine wave because it's easy to see that with the sine wave. Now, if I, just for fun and games, Cloud Generator has an option where you can go to 4 oscillators, and when you spread it, then the 4 oscillators spread out. Let's see if we can see them. Look, there they are, the 4 oscillators. They're detuning themselves. 4 oscillators. And you can see the pitches. I mean, you can see the frequencies that they're at. That's really exciting to be able to see that. And he also has 8 oscillators. Let's see what we can do with that one. Sounds pretty cool. Look at the 8 oscillators go. Look at that. You can do that. But then if we add in chaos, things start to get a little wiggly. And our 8 oscillators start to go crazy. And we add in some... this is our bandwidth. So this is a... Chaos introduces noise into the... chaos introduces noise into the waveforms, into the oscillators. And then chaos BW, bandwidth, that changes the frequency. It EQ, basically using an EQ, it changes what noise is applied to which of the oscillators. But you can see what it's doing to each of the 8 oscillators now. So you see, with a frequency, even a complicated noise, a complicated sound like this is putting out, it can, even with this, it can let us see what's going on. Rather than just blindly, no pun intended, because, you know, this is a visual, it's a visual tool, but rather than blindly just bringing sound, we can, with this tool, we can see what's actually happening. We can see those 8 oscillators separate and detune themselves. You know, we can see things happening. So having things like scope, which you see right here, and having things like Bog Audio's analyzer, really great tools for helping us better understand our sound. And last but not least, it's a power button on the far right. Okay, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you appreciate this. And once again, I will say Bog Audio is producing this as an open source application. So please go to the website and show your support for the developers. Thank you very much for watching today. Good luck on your music, and I will see you next time.